You're good.
All right, so we're going to start with whoever can give us the broadest overview of the government meetings.
The broadest overview. Broadest overview. Who would that be? All right, they have to decide out that. Who would that be? Okay, hold on, and I will do a meditation.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, we'll see who comes. Hello, everybody. If I didn't say hello to you, hello now.
Yes, and while Jim's going into meditation, I want to thank everybody for being here. And if we could just take a moment to pray for the best information possible to help reunite us or bring us closer to our loved ones. And Elga, perhaps you could mute while you're not speaking because the birds may interfere with the recording. Thank you, Elga. The bird song is lovely, but it could cut out the speaker.
And Michelle said she can't hear anything.
Well, I don't know what we can do about that because everybody else is hearing, correct?
Yep.
There is the dial-in number is another option. And also check your sound settings next to the microphone. There's a little triangle that lets you select a different speaker. Make sure there isn't a set of headphones plugged into your computer or tablet, that sort of thing. I see your picture just popped up, so we heard some sounds from your end, Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah. One moment, please.
Oh, it's nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to be seen. They said that I could probably give the most impartial view. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Yeah, because I was there even though that I don't have an international spouse, but I was at the meetings because it was the full meetings. So I did hear all the different parts of it. So I was there in present for most of it. So I did hear many of the different sections of it. The marital spouses portion was in and out. They talked about it, then they left it, then they talked about it, then they left it. But the biggest takeaway from the spouses portion was a couple things. First of all, they're still talking about this. I think this is important to mention. First up, is they're talking about that protocol thing that they're writing for all the different species. Now, I think that's really important because in order for first contact to come for everybody, not just the spouses or their this and that, but for everybody, this protocol has to be written. And they're starting to listen to the thoughts that there should be more aliens involved in writing this because there's 100 protocols out here. So they have the protocols for 3 species or 4 maybe, because the 4 biggest ones that they know about, or the 4 biggest ones that are interactive, the Greys, the reptilians, whatever. So they have those 4, but they don't have all the bits and pieces of all the other ones that are necessary. So that's the first thing I think, is they need to definitely be calling on some of us out here to help them with this protocol thing. Second of all, I just wanted to mention that because I think it's important, because that's going to be a big thing in the near future. I hope. Yeah. And the other thing is, they're making or they're saying they're going to make a couple different places on the planet where like an Area 51 or something, that some of the spouses can get together to meet. Now, the problem with that, as I see it, is that they only want to have 3 or 4 couples at a time with this kind of program, because they want to have it highly guarded. They want it to be very personal between each person. I'm sure they're going to be watching. So that is another thing. I'm not really happy about the way they're doing it, but they want to be like all eyes on everybody. So they want to just do 3 or 4, maybe 5 couples at a time for like several days. If they do it that way, it'll take a century before everybody will get to see their spouse. So it'll be like, all right, these 5 got to see their spouse for a week. Then these 5 get to see their spouse for a week. There's thousands of you guys out there, and they're not going to play favorites. It's going to be on a lottery. So whoever's names are drawn first could be people you never heard of out in the Andromeda or the other side of the galaxy, with the Earth person that's here. And there's several reptilians from out here that are also married to some of the people down there, and all the different things. So it's going to be very interesting if they do it that way, because there's 1,200 couples that have signed up for this, and not all of those are going to be approved, because some of them just are not. They aren't qualified to have to be here. So anyway, I'll go into that some other time. But the thing is, that's a lot of couples. So you won't get to see your beloved or your loved one very often. They've got to do something else. Now, if they have several of these places going at one time, that might be a better, like 7 or 8 or 10 or whatever. But as far as I can understand, they're going to do like maybe so far they have 2 places into consideration to bring couples to, and they're not even ready yet. So only 2 places is not enough. So I think you should write to your congressman. But anyway.
That's just a joke, right?
Yeah. Because they wouldn't know what the hell to do anyway. But anyway. The other part of this whole picture is that there are some countries, and I would say 50% of the countries are just saying, we don't even want to take part in this. We don't want to be involved. We don't want to do this, because if we're involved, then that means we have responsibility if something were to happen, if someone were to get hurt, or someone were to disappear, someone were to get kidnapped, or like somebody came to this meeting and then beamed out with their spouse and never was seen again, then there would be problems and all these things. So they're taking into consideration a busload of problems that they feel could be attached to this. I bring this up last because it's usually what's brought up first. Um, they usually jump right in there and say, "Oh, we can't do this because of all these different problems that we know that are going to happen, kidnappings and people not returning, and uh, uh, somebody dying, or the atmosphere not being right, and we're not being able to bring them in properly, or whatever." So they have a million problems with it up here up front. They have a million problems with it even before they're starting this. They're saying there's too many problems with it. So, yet there are some of them that they're still saying we're looking into it. So that's like saying they have a room full of people, but only a couple of them will they really consider to be worthwhile to look at, if you know what I'm saying. Because they know who's good with what atmospheres, or at least they think they do. But they need so much help from out here to be able to tell them what kind of atmospheres they need, what kind of protective gear, what kind of all whatever. So it is going to be a little while before you see anything happening. But I would hope that first contact will come before that. At least the very thought that other aliens are going to be coming will be let everybody know, the whole people know that, before you have them setting them aside into rooms and all kinds of things where you don't know what the government's going to do. You really don't. I've seen them say one thing and do another. So even many, many times, not just once or twice. So I don't even trust that they would bring together these couples fairly or equitably or even safely. So we have to look at all that. But first contact, that means that everybody would know about it, would care about it, would have their say in it, would be yes or no or whatever. They should at least tell the people, or ask the people, do you want this? They should ask them. They should say, we know that there's aliens out here. Do you want them to be able to come visit? Do you want to be able to go visit them? They need to be honest with the people at this point. The people already know that we exist. It's just they haven't seen us. That's it. So, questions. I know that I was pretty vague about a couple things, but you need to ask questions so we can clarify.
Does anybody mind if, oh, Angie, you've got your hand up. Why don't you go first?
Yeah. Thank you, Grindal, for all the information. It was great. My question to you is, in your opinion, because this is your opinion and what you've been around out there, what do you think the probability of anything happening like this next year? What is the probability?
This next year, nothing in this next year. The probability is pretty zero. But in the next few years, there is possibilities. This next year will be getting back to normal year for the world. In many cases, there's many things that are way out of whack and not normal. So they have to get back to normal before they can think about bringing in people from other worlds. So Israel's not normal. Europe's not normal. United States is not normal. Australia's, England, look at England, Europe. Nobody's normal. So they need to start getting themselves back into a normal thought process before they can bring other people from out here.
The second portion of my question is about first contact. I know that at least our governments are willing to listen to us in a way that we have not been listened to before. And so in regards to first contact, what what does it look like? What is the probability of that happening within like even 2 to 3 years?
Not good. Let me tell you why. Because behind your back, the government, believe me, I've been in government. I worked in the government in Israel
Right.
for a long time.
Right.
Behind the backs of the people, they'll say they have no idea what they want. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea what these aliens are like. They don't know anything. Blah, blah, blah. We know everything. We get to say what happens. So you may say, yes, we want aliens to come. Yes, we think that that's okay. The government says, you don't know these aliens. We know them better than you do. They're violent. They're terrible. They're awful. And we're not going to have them come down. We're not going to have them do anything right now. So, but they do know that there are some good ones as well. But they also depend on the fact that they know more than you. And they know more, they feel like they have the authority to say what's best for you. And that's really quite a nasty thing because they really don't, they looked into it to a certain extent, but they have not looked into it to the fullest extent.
I understand. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I open the floor to anyone else.
Well, I have a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
They've talked about two places. If they identified a location for either of them.
Yeah, the one was in the United States. It was, like I said, an Area 51 or a 53 or a 50 something. The other one was in Russia, somewhere remote.
So when you say Area 51 or 53, we're talking somewhere in the Southwest.
Something like that. It would be an area where they know that it's secretive, that people can't get to, that is highly guarded, etc. Now, when they say this, that they have two different areas that they're looking at, both Russia and the United States are looking at the other one going, I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Trust us, but they don't trust them. So they're thinking that if they bring the couples to the other place, there's a higher chance for someone to get killed or lost or whatever. They want to have total control and see everyone and do all the things that they need to do. But it's they don't trust the other countries.
And another question I have is they're already doing this with military and scientists in a number of locations. Can't they use similar protocols for us? What makes the spouses so different than the other people who are already allowed to speak with aliens?
Because you're mingling with them, you're having intercourse with them, you're interacting with them in ways they have not seen before. Or and yes, there are occasionally interactions with aliens, but it's very, very rare, and it's very short. Usually, alien interactions with humans, their communications are very brief. They say what they want to say to the humans and then they're gone because they don't really wait for a response in many cases. There are some that do, but some that do not. They say, this is the story. They tell it and they go. And they say, if they don't believe us, they don't want to stick around for them to hem and haw and say they don't agree or believe it or whatever. They just give them the story and they go. And that's the way they are. So your communications with aliens from a government point of view is pretty fast. Now, yes, there are some aliens that are on the planet working with humans, but they are not necessarily in contact with those of their species out here. They're working they are promised that they are not going to be conversing with the outer exopolitical world because that's too dangerous. And so that's too dangerous for humans, that is. And so the humans made them swear, and they will actually keep them under high security and make sure they do not. But there are aliens on the earth working with humans, working on building saucers, backwards engineering things, because you have several different kinds of alien things to work on. Not all of it's from the same aliens. So you might have one group of aliens working over here that are from this area of space, and they know all about this kind of spaceship or whatever, but they're getting all this information about other wrecked spaceships they know nothing about. So there's backward engineering those ones that they know nothing about. So, or the ones over here might know about that spaceship and they brought it to the wrong people. So you never know. Yeah, you just don't know what's going on.
So essentially, it's still kind of a mess what they're doing with aliens.
Well, it's too secretive. If they were to open up communications with each other and let each other know what they're doing, and they could get advanced 10 times faster.
All right. Well, Alan, I believe, is next in line, and then Angie has another question. Alan?
Yeah.
All right, Grindal, how are you doing?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Just before asking, I have sort of a pre-question. A couple of days ago, or it was a week ago, I don't know, I kind of felt your presence, or it's like I felt like if I was going to channel someone, you would have been the one, but I kind of chickened out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there.
Okay, just want to make sure that was like a week ago. All right, I'm just making sure I'm.
Yeah, I was there. You could channel me if you want. I know I'm a little scary, but you know, I'm actually safe. I had my shots.
Yeah. Just,
all right.
You know, it's good to get that confirmation. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
It's more substantive questions is from a year ago up until this point, how much would you say things have changed or improved or gotten closer to actually seeing some measurable change on the outside world?
Actually, a great deal. But because the world is in such a messed up state, you wouldn't be able to really know it. But internally, in the governments and in the scientific, especially in the scientific community, you will see a lot of changes in their thoughts. They have actually started to really gravitate toward understanding the alien agenda in many cases, because they feel that this is the next step for them. They have come as far as they can with their mathematics, with their understanding of string theory, quantum understanding, the Higgs boson, God particles, and how creation is formulated. And they have like 10,000 more little theories about that. But what they are missing and they want so badly is confirmations and understandings from us out here. And they really want to talk to us about many of the things that they're doing. They really do. Now, you're going to find this year a lot of people are going to start talking about aliens like never before. It's already started. People were saying, "Yeah, they're here. They're among us. They're there, and they're wanting to reach out. They're starting to become the actual first step of first contact is going to be stepped up way greater than you've ever seen it before, so that people are going to start saying, Oh, they're talking about aliens now. They're talking about contacting them. They're talking about the galactic government. They're talking about all the different kinds of species there are. This is going to be something, instead of just seeing a ship or hearing about one species or hearing about one particular aspect of alien culture, you're going to start hearing about the bigger picture out here. How many species there are, that there's a galactic government, that there is a lot of aliens here, and they're going to start hearing about it.
Yeah, wasn't there that one guy from Israel? Was that former defense chief? I think that thing.
Well, who do you think I was with in Israel?
Was that him?
Yeah.
Oh, so now that you're not with him, you can say who you were with.
Yeah.
Okay. And my last question is, how many? Well, I don't know if I need to ask this first question. How many of us were at the government meetings, and what was the main stuff that we have talked about?
Everyone here was at it. Everyone that's at this meeting was at the government meetings. And every single one of you had something to say about the marriages. Every single one of you had something to say about first contact. Every single one of you had something to say about medical. Those seem to be three things that all of you spoke about, or not all spoke about, but we're in agreement with. Now, not all of you spoke about the medical, but you did speak about first contact and the marriages and all that stuff. All of you did that. So, yes.
Okay, so do we? And this is for clarification. So, do we show up? How do we attend the meetings? I know it's astral.
You come in the astral. You come because your governments do not know anything about the astral except that it exists, but it's not within a plane of existence that measures vibration, which means it's not in a realm such as third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. It's in a dimension. It's in a mathematical sequence that your spirit can come into that kind of a contact with other beings. So it's not in a realm, it's in a dimension. So the astral is a dimension that is not being able to understood mathematically by your people yet.
Okay, so do they come in the physical?
They come in the physical. They are sitting in a room, or they're sitting in rooms around the world. There is a place where if you want to come and be away from your country or whatever, there's a place to come. They have a designated meeting place, but you can enter that meeting from different areas of the world with the right codes.
Yeah. And so do we appear on a screen to them? How do they see us when we're there?
You appear, most of the aliens appear on a screen or something like that. The people that are in astral, yes, they can also be seen in some other alien screens. You just don't appear in the astral like a ghost in front of them. Yes, you do appear on screens. You appear but you don't appear as fully formed. You seem very ghost-like.
Yeah. But before I let someone else take the mic, is it usually that when each of us goes, it's usually while it's nighttime for us?
You're asleep. Now, not always. 99% of the time, yes. But there are times when your spirit can leave while you're awake, but you will feel drained. You will feel completely tired and have no thought processes. You will just be sort of a zombie in your body. So if that happens, usually they don't take you unless you're sitting and relaxing, doing something that means nothing, and so they'll take you during those periods of time in while you're awake. But very rarely do they do that.
Oh, you said they take you. So is
They
it more
come and
of
get
us going,
you.
or
They come and get you and ask you if you want to go, basically.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That was very informative. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Angie's next.
Yeah.
The Girk how interactive is Girk with our governments? Because we work so closely with Girk that are they at least willing to work with them? That's my only question.
They work with Girk because they know they are helping us, you, whatever. They are helping you. I say us because I was in a person, so yeah. So anyway, they work closely with you only because they want to can keep your help, but they don't give you really too much time of day. They thank you for your help, and that's about it. They thank Girk for their help, and they try not to make them mad. So they don't talk a lot with them. They do talk whenever they have to, but they don't agree with everything, or they don't want to talk to them too much because they're afraid of making them mad, and then they'll stop helping us. Yeah. Because they don't agree with a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
Michelle, you're next.
Hi, Grindal.
Greeting.
I just have a quick. Is there another way of meeting our spouses other than in astral? Can we get to physically touch them? That sort of thing?
Not yet, because it's not permitted by your governments, which means it's guarded by the galactic governments. So once your governments say yes to something, then the galactic governments will stop being so harsh with those that are trying to visit. So it is that your governments are the problem, because all that the galactic government is doing is protecting what your government asked them to protect. So once first contact or something has come about that starts some kind of interaction that's physical, then there will be a greater understanding for the galactic government to allow physical movement back and forth. Hopefully that will come within a few years. We're hoping that first contact comes soon. Now, first contact is looking different now than it ever did before. So it first of all was saucers coming, then it was technology being lit up. Now it's information from humans to other humans. Humans to other humans, until the whole world is ready to say, all right, where are these beings? We want to see them. They want to be asked for. They want you to be asking for us. Many of you are already, but they need a greater number. They need a larger number. So that's what it's going to have to be. They're going to have to be humans that are asking for first contact. That's the way they are approaching it now.
Just to elaborate, when the time comes, how will we, for example, you said Area 53 is a potential meeting spot. So how would we get there? Would we be picked up on a ship and taken?
They're discussing that now.
You know, when the time
Now,
comes.
the aliens would beam right into there, but the humans would have to be brought there one way or another. There are ways to beam humans into there, but they would not use that at first. They would bring you through the underground highways to these places.
Oh, really? That would be quite a revelation in itself.
Okay, thank you.
The underground highways do exist, and they're becoming more and more populous. They have to be very careful now because there are so many under the United States. There used to be 3 main ones, you know, one right across the middle of the country, but now there's several smaller tributaries from different areas. They have to be sure that these tunnels will hold up and that they're not in high volcanic or tectonic areas as well. But there are some that are, so they will have to deal with that. But there are now at least 30 tributaries into the main highway.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? I know that they're, oh God, what's this called? This thing called Hyperloop. It's a new sort of technology that's being developed, quote unquote, by humans. I'm wondering, is that similar to the technology that's used in the underground highway? And if so, is the Hyperloop, that name, going to be used to sort of disclose the existence of that?
Well, the Hyperloop is more modern than the underground highway system. The underground highway still has trucks and vehicles going through it. The vehicles that would be in the Hyperloop would not be those same kind of vehicles, and they would have to make a different kind of track for them or a different kind of magnetic source particle that would go through those highways. Yes, it's very possible that they could do that because some of these main highway areas are very large, but the tributaries are small. So they would have to make them larger to be able to put these kinds of hyperloops in them. But we'll see what they do.
So you said, so they just use like fossil fuel trucks, cars in the underground highway?
Yes, and they have their ways of getting the gas out of there and everything, but it is because they send up, they have several air holes. It's like they punched the ground so that some of that exhaust can escape, so it doesn't get trapped underground. There's ventilators that go up, and then they shoot out through a smaller hole in the middle of nowhere where no one can see them or understand what's going on. So, but there's many ventilation ports for these underground highways.
Okay, I'm just surprised that they're not, if they have more advanced technology, why they're not, utilizing
these underground highways were started many years ago. These are not new. These are ancient compared. They're like 50, 60, 70 years old. So some of the major tributaries are very old. Now they're trying to update.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's why it's with trucks and cars and stuff. So because these were started a long time ago, like in the late 40s. So it's quite a while ago.
Grindal, you mentioned that in the next year we might hear about the other species in galactic governments. Will this continue to only be from channelers, or will there be some kind of official disclosure before first contact?
Well, the guy that Alan was talking about, the Israeli, he acknowledges that there's a galactic government. He acknowledges that there's aliens among you. So that's just the very first kinds of things you'll be hearing from other humans.
Right, but so far, the credibility, I mean, the To the Stars Academy has ex-Pentagon officials also saying that first contact has happened, but nobody believes it as a rule.
Correct, because they're saying that it's happened, but they're not proving it or showing it. So what has to happen is the truth must come out. And it's so hard for the governments to tell the truth. They just have such a hard time with that. They want to tell you a bunch of stories so that you're safe and protected, but they don't want to tell you the truth because that's their secrets and they want to keep them. So what's going to be coming out is some of the secrets that they have been keeping, but not all of them, but some of them. Some of the ones that they're ready to give up. Like the aliens under Area 51. There's still aliens under Area 51 and other areas of the world. That's something that they're willing to almost give up at this point.
Really? Well, that would be an official disclosure, which would certainly make first contact much more possible.
But are they going to show you those aliens? Or are they just going to tell you that they're there? That's what I want to see.
Well, just admitting they're there is enough to open up the debate so that the majority of people on the planet aren't left guessing without any real reason.
Yeah. Whatever they do, it can be helpful.
I wanted to touch back on the question that was asked about what contacting our spouses might look like. At the moment, they are certainly technically capable of beaming us off the planet. Can you tell us what the penalty is for them doing that?
The what? The what?
The penalty. If we asked our spouses to just beam us off the planet, and they did, right now
the penalty wouldn't be for you. It would be for your spouses. They would direct a beam at wherever that beam came from. They would shoot that out. It would probably be from a ship because most of the time you're not doing planet to planet with a transporter. It is possible they did it with the pyramids. They do it to Mars, but it's not. There's not that many transporters that can do great distances like that. You have the Stargates and things that do that, but if a ship were to come and they beamed you off, they'd shoot the ship down.
With me on it.
With you on it.
Okay.
And then they would have an excuse for why you were dead. They would make one of them up.
Which makes me wonder why they're so afraid of secrecy about the spouses.
Because if only one person disappearing is no big deal. But if there's a bunch, then there's a problem.
But we have missing persons every day here on this planet already.
Yes. And where do they go? A lot of them are not beamed up into the sky, though.
Mm-hmm. I thought you said the punishment was for the spouses, not for us. But if you get killed in the ship, then I guess it was for you.
Well, yeah, it's for actually it's not aimed at you, but you would be part of the casualties.
Yeah, but
or at least so you could be. There are other scenarios. I don't want to go into all of them, but where they could actually pinpoint the actual person and knock them off first. But that's highly irregular.
Yeah.
They're not that specified yet, but they're getting there.
At the beginning of what you were telling us, you were describing the protocol talks. These include specifics like what disease immunizations people have to have before traveling between planets. What other kind of specifics are being discussed in those protocols?
what kind of air or what kind of atmosphere is needed for the spouse, what kind of food is necessary, or nourishments or liquids, all these kinds of things, what kind of PPE equipment is necessary to be around these people, what kind of PPE is around must be around the humans for some of their spouses, where those are just the very basic things. Then there's other things about what kind of germs or bacteria are being brought in, uh, radiation. I could go on and on.
Have they been discussing a quarantine for humans after meeting with their spouses?
Absolutely.
Do you have any idea how long they want that to be?
Depends on the spouse. Now, if there's radiation involved in some way or bacteria, it might be longer. They might have to have what is that word?
Decontamination.
What?
Decontamination.
Yeah, there he is. Decontamination. For some of these, yeah.
Temple
It
has a
depends on what it is.
Hey, Grindal. I'm just curious, has anything been discussed about allowing us to keep our memories after the spousal meetings, or allowing us to keep our memories going to the spousal meetings versus knocking us out and just randomly showing up there and erasing everything before they put us back?
They really don't care about that yet. They're still worried about the other more things that are more important to them, not things that are important to you. They're worried about the bugs and the bacteria and the radiation and the everything that's going on with them, not with you. That'll be next.
Right. Okay.
But I'll tell you what, they will talk to you about your experience. Yeah.
I'm sure.
They want to know about that. That's for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mentioned there were 1,200 couples. How many of those couples weren't couples? Like, are there single aliens with multiple Earth spouses, vice versa?
There's some that will not qualify due to where they come from in outer space, because this is a galactic organization. And so if they come from outside the galaxy, they will be disqualified. If they are considered neutral or unfriendly species, they will be disqualified. If they are, they cannot be identified. They will have to have credentials from their home planets and from their home species, and also from the galactic government. If they don't have all the documentation, they will be disqualified. So there are as many things that will tend to make the number a lot smaller.
Right. My question was not that. It was, am I the only person involved in a non-monogamous relationship?
No, you're not. You're not the only one. There are at least 30 of these couples are non-monogamous.
No, that's a small number.
36 couples are non-monogamous.
And the other question is how are they going to handle that in the lottery? Will every human get one entry or one?
No,
entry
they will attach all the names to the one human. They will all have to come at once.
And okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
And let's say, for those humans who are aware that they have an off-world connection, because there are probably those who aren't, as aware, but the ones who are most aware, does that change, how the order, does that bump them up in priority or what?
No, at least not yet. They haven't even considered that yet. They're still looking at the vast numbers and trying to figure out a way how to get the numbers down and how to accommodate this many people. And that's why right now it's a big no, but they have some people working on it, surprisingly, to see what they can do. The reason why they have these people working on it is this. They want to see human and alien interaction before it actually becomes something of first contact normality. Do you know what I mean? They want to have some kind of understanding of it before it becomes something else. I don't know what to call it, but they want to study it first. They don't want to just let it happen. They want to know what's going on. So they want to see how breeding is. They want to see how a pregnancy is. They want to see all these different things. If a pregnancy does happen, they will study that pregnancy in their own facilities and not in a doctor's office. Yes. Yes, any more questions?
I have a question. So, it was about
That's a good question. The answer is nothing. All right.
So the governments, they'll want to study our interaction. They want to see what it is that how we interact, whether it's once we actually see our spouse from another planet, what the actual interaction is, the response, but see, that wouldn't be an accurate interaction because we already have very strong feelings for our spouses outside of the planet.
They don't care. They will use whatever they can to do their research. They will use what they have to do their research. And hopefully they're hoping above hope that there will be some breakups during this period of time. And they want to see that too.
Interesting. All right. Thank you so much.
Michelle, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you were in the queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay, Mark. Thanks, Grindal. I'm just wondering, are the rules at all any different for angelics and humans?
No, because
both in terms of how we're going to meet. Sorry, go ahead.
No, they're considered aliens.
I see.
Even though they are a different class of aliens. How? Yeah, they're a different class of aliens, but they are still considered aliens. Creator beings are a different class of aliens. They are still considered aliens, but they've dealt with them in different ways. So they still considered aliens. They want to see how you would interact.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, they're all considered outside of the norm. They're all considered aliens in one way or another, even though, but you have to understand, that there are many different kinds of aliens. And so they have the thin-skinned ones and the translucents and the grays, the blues, the greens, the Nords, all kinds of dragons and things of that nature. So they're all in different categories, but they're all considered aliens. So yeah, angels would be a different category.
But would the angels, when let's just say the government say, fine, we've got 2 locations and we are ready to go forward with the meeting of the spouses. How would someone of an angelic form, how would they interact with their spouse? Or
They would have to get the same paperwork from the galactic government as everyone else.
how would they show up? Would they just show up? They don't have form. They just, I mean, how would
They
that
do
work?
have form. They can put themselves into a form. They would have to do it.
Okay. All right.
And they would have to get galactic government approval like everyone else. They wouldn't need a planetary permission because they're not from a planet. And of course, God's not going to write a document, but they would have to go to the galactic government and get their documentation there.
One quick follow-up to that, and then Alan's waiting with a question. I know they have technology that can prevent aliens from interacting with us.
Yes.
Do they have any technology that is effective against an angel?
Angels are sent by God for a particular reason. Angels are not allowed to come here unless they are commanded by God that they're permitted. So if they are not permitted by God to come here, they just cannot show up. Now, God can know about their visas or whatever from the galactic government, and he can allow it as they get their documentation. I am sure there will be a way to figure that out. But they're just not allowed to show up here in this realm without a reason.
I see. Alan?
I think I'll go and ask Temple had her hand up before me, but I can ask quickly. So my question was about that guy you were with, Grindal, that Israeli
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, was there some disinformation in what he said? Because I remember reading that he said that, Trump was on the verge of disclosing aliens to the public, but the Galactic Federation stopped him from doing so. Was that something Trump told the guy, or was that I don't know. That just seemed to kind of
No, that doesn't seem right at all. That was something that somebody added to that wasn't there before. No, Trump actually denied the existence of aliens until just recently, whereas he actually accidentally admitted that they existed. But he would not be the one that would be declaring them. No.
It just
that was a piece of misinformation from those that are planting misinformation throughout your whole existence. They planted the information that he was the savior, that was a very positive being. In some ways, he was very positive in creating change for your world, but I would not consider him personally as a positive being. But some might consider him a positive being for the changes that he put the world through, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just I'm wondering that because, once the governments, they agree to some sort of actual change or some disclosure happening, would they even try to put the blame of the delay off of themselves? Will they try to say, oh, it was the aliens that made it take so long?
That the human beings would know better than to listen to that, really, I would think. But yes, they can say anything they want, really. They can say whatever they want. But when we come and we're among the people, we will tell them the truth.
Truth will out. All right.
It will happen. But there is a lot of those out there that are spreading, they're trying to have the earth go in a direction that it can be conquered more easily. You have to understand that. So they will come through and give misinformation so that the world can be more easily conquered. You have to be very careful about that.
Temple?
I just wanted to comment on the possibility of having places on Earth here for everyone to go to. I think it's really important that everybody understands that this is not something that the government's going to do and be like, oh, we love our people on Earth, let's let them have some time. Essentially,
it's
if
not
this all
that.
works out, right, we're gonna be the experiments. We're gonna be the rats.
Correct.
They're gonna allow us in there as long as they can monitor us, watch what happens. We will literally be the rats in their experiment. So just so everybody understands this, I'm not saying this is a bad thing or a good thing. It just is what it is to get to our spouses. So I just don't want anyone to like have these grandiose ideas of how this is going to all be so romanticized. It's probably going to be very difficult for everyone.
Well, and yeah, they're going to say, oh, we're going to put you in this room all by yourself. You're going to be alone. That's not going to be true because there's going to be cameras. They're going to be watching. Maybe one of the walls is glass. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not going to be what they say.
Yeah, just so everybody's aware of this. And we don't even know what's going to happen yet when we're allowed to either go there or come back, what they're going to have to do to us. So just to be aware.
I would not personally want to be in those first several couples that go there because it's going to be a fiasco for the first several couples anyway, because they're not going to have the right PPE. They're not going to have the right distancing. They're not going to have the right thought process about the whole, not right atmospheres, blah, whatever. It's going to be not fun. And they're going to put their own people at risk. So they would not want to put the alien at risk for fear they would have a problem with the universe, but they wouldn't mind losing a couple of their own in experimental studies.
Exactly.
Right.
Including us.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
I assume you also meant that their own staff are expendable.
Right. Well, that has happened. So I won't go into that.
Correct. Darn, I had another good question and I just lost it. Anybody else have a question?
I can pipe in. I'm not sure if the angelic thing is quite the same as the Ramses thing, but he did say he would have to get permission to show up as a human, but it could be possible, but that he would not be able to stay as long as the other aliens there. So
right, because he's not from a physical realm.
Correct. Yes. So I don't know if that is sort of the same with the angelic or not. If they would not be able to stay as long as normal.
I really don't know exactly. I could guess that it's similar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming too.
I would have to ask someone because the angelic realm can make themselves physical, but it's only temporary as far as I know. Now, if you go out to their realm, they will seem as physical and solid and everything because they're in their atmosphere, their vibration dimension, etc. So you can go out there and have a better time, I'm sure.
Elga, did you have a question?
Well, not really a question, but what I understand is that when we go into the astral, we walk in the astral, that we have a body in spaces that we are using. We're going out of our bodies, and we are receiving another kind of body in the astral, so that we have some kind of a form, and then we work in that form. That's what I understand.
All right. Yeah.
And then perhaps that we're gonna have the permission to have consciousness, that we are conscious and we're taking our consciousness with us, that we remember. That is what I could see could happen as and still have papers, because we need a permission for that.
All right.
I
Yeah,
don't,
that'll have to be worked on too. Yes.
yeah, that's what I feel.
All right. I don't know that for sure, but I don't know all the answers to every question, but I can tell you that it's going to be a logistical nightmare for
All of us.
many species to be involved in this.
Yeah.
So, because they're going to have to be ready for many different species. Yeah.
You've mentioned that there were 1,200 couples involved. Of those connections, how many different alien or non-human species are in total are already involved in this?
Well, some of them were disqualified because they're not part of the galaxy. Those ones are immediately dismissed. The 1,200 is what showed up at the very first meeting. So, but some of them were already disqualified. They weren't part of the galaxy at hand. So it went down to like 900 or something. So you still have about 900 couples that are still actively involved.
Does that mean that Barbara was disqualified?
No. Well, no, not completely. There are some exceptions with but I can't go into all those right now. But because the Eliashondai Zendi do have bases in this galaxy for a long period of time, which gives them a sort of they're well known to the galaxy, so they can be one of the exceptions to the rule.
They also have one on Earth too. They have a few of their people on Earth yet, which
Yeah.
is a long story too. But anyway, so
Yes, they do actually. So there are some exceptions to the rules that their original species was from outside the galaxy, but now they have homes within the galaxy, just like you move into Europe or something. You become eventually a native there, or a, what are they called? Citizen. You become a citizen eventually. So there are many Eliashondai Zendi that are citizens of this galaxy.
You mentioned, back to the issue of protocols, how many species would not be adapting their bodies in some way to make their connection with their human partners more compatible in terms of being able to share our environment?
That is a possibility. They're looking at putting some species into human bodies, meaning that their species would have that technology that they can do it. And so they can send their representative to the Earth looking more human. Not maybe completely, but in a sense that they're able to be compatible in all the different ways they need to be. Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
Grindal. So I don't know if this is, maybe it's, I guess it's okay to ask since this is a spouses group meeting. Is there anything between you and Eva? And if so, it's kind of yeah, kind of no?
We're not sexually involved, if you mean that.
No.
But I always tease Eva. Eva's one of my favorites. She's someone that would be willing to be involved with me if there was ever that time and space. But I can tell you this, at this point, I would have to get to know her a little bit better before there would ever be a relationship.
All right.
But
Yeah.
I can come to the earth in a human form as well. We've learned how to do that. So, or I could walk into another human and I could do it that way.
Yeah.
All right. But Eva, yes, special girl for me. Yeah, different. All right.
All right. I had one quick last question. If this isn't, it's only take less than a minute. Not related to the spouses, but my Zespoid hybrid. What was his name? Gudrun, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Is he on planet or off planet? If so, where? Off planet.
Off planet in a ship.
All right. Thank you. See, told you less than a minute.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
All right. I think that covers the government meeting. Does anybody else have any government meeting or related questions?
All of our spouses were at the government meet. Well, I don't need to ask that question. I already know.
You were, yeah. All the spouses came with you. Yes.
I'm just okay. So about memory. Is there a time when we'll be able to have more memories of us being at these meetings? Because this past meeting, there was nothing, nothing. And so I'm just wondering, will it take a couple years for that to change?
Yeah, the fourth dimensional energy on your planet is not high enough to support the fourth dimensional energy in your brains yet. Remember, you're at the beginning of your ascension period. It's not, you're only about, not even, what is this? This is like you're 8 years into it. So that's about it. That's all you are, 8 years into your ascension. So you can't expect to be doing mental, jumping jacks. So you have to give it a little more time for the fourth dimensional energy to catch up, for you to be equate with it in some ways. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but your brain holds fourth dimensional energy. The atmosphere holds fourth dimensional energy, but they're not bonding yet. And when they start to bond, when your fourth dimensional energy bonds with your mental fourth dimensional energy, you're going to start remembering a lot. You're going to be able to see into the next dimension and density a little bit more and remember a lot more things from the astral and several other things. But you have to understand that a group of people such as yourselves are advanced. You're ahead of the curve when it comes to normal humans. Normal humans aren't even close to where you are in accepting fourth dimensional energy or understanding that it is part of your future. They don't even get it yet, but you guys are already trying to use it. So you're ahead of the curve, and you will continually be ahead of the curve, but you have to understand that it's going to take a little time for the earth energy and the mental energy to balance out so that you can start remembering the things that you need to from the fourth dimension, because or the astral, that's a different place altogether.
So is the astral same as fourth dimension or different? Because
No,
if it's
not.
different, if it's a different thing, then how can fourth dimensional energies help?
It's not about that. It's not about your astral. It's about you as being a part of fourth dimensional energy in the third dimension that has fourth dimensional energies in it. You can go anywhere in the universe or any dimension or density once you have that balance of fourth dimension and bring back memories.
So how would that help? Oh, okay. So that would help astral travel memory that way, even though it's not connected to the fourth dimension at all.
Correct. It is about the fourth dimension in third dimension. Does that make sense? The fourth dimensional part of third dimension is what makes the difference.
Which is what helps astral travel remembering. All right.
Yes, yeah.
Michelle's got a hand up, and then Angie's got hers next.
Yeah.
Michelle, are
Hi,
you with us?
Grindal. I'm just wondering if you can. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you can tell me, give me an overview of what Uriel spoke about at these meetings, or at the most recent meeting.
Oh, Uriel.
Please.
Actually, he's an advocate for humanity to get to move beyond this confusion state that humanity is in. He more or less talked about to the governments that they have to straighten their act out and become more forward thinking, much more understanding of each other, so that they can actually understand what's going on out here. He said, you don't even understand yourselves well enough to understand what's happening out here. So Uriel went into a diatribe of telling them that they need to get their act together so that the act out here can be understood. Because he said, because you don't have your act together as a species, you can't possibly understand what we're trying to tell you completely, because you're missing it with your own confusion and immaturity. So he actually went into something very different than some of the others. He spoke directly to the politicians and said, get your act together with your world and understand your people. And then you'll be able to understand everything else that we're trying to tell you.
Also, our healing group sends energy to that specific purpose almost every night. You know, that the beings in charge will do the good and right thing for those they represent. I mean, from your point of view, is our group, the energies that we send, are they getting noticed? Are they making a difference? Or, can you give me an update, please?
No, the thing is, of course, any kind of prayer or healing energy is going to make a difference. And so, yes, of course, keep doing it. It will make a difference. But you have to understand, your energy compared to the energy of ignorance is small right at the moment, but it is getting bigger and bigger all the time. So you must continue to do it, because you're getting stronger all the time. And as you get stronger, this is punching a hole in the negativity. That's a good way to look at it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Angie's next.
Grindal, when I know that literally the meeting's just ended, when are they looking at getting together again? What type of time frame are they looking at?
Oh God. Well, I have to tell you that United States didn't even go to these meetings.
Makes sense.
Section. They didn't go, and there was a good reason for that. According to them, they couldn't participate this year or this particular quarter or whatever you want to call it. They were too involved in their own getting their stuff together, if you will. But the next one will be, I would think, won't even be until the middle of next year.
Like around July or August of next year?
Something that around there. They have not stated any time frame at this point.
What is the consensus of the gathering, of the meeting? What is the consensus? Do they feel that it was an good representation for us?
No,
Of course not.
no. They did. There was a lot of countries missing this particular meeting.
Is it due to the, what was it?
COVID problems, due to COVID problems with communication problems, and with several other things that I won't go into.
All right.
I've got one more question. You were talking about aliens that can transform into a human form.
Yeah.
Do we have any extra value as lab rats if we volunteer to take on alien forms to be more compatible with our spouses?
If they knew how to do that, probably. But they don't know. Your people don't know how to do that. Out here, we know how to do that. So it's possible that they will allow it just to study what's going on. But I do not know the answer to that yet.
Well, I've been interested in seeing what it's like to take on a Chiliad and a Pleiadian form. I'm wondering if that's even been put on the table as another option for meeting our spouses.
There are so many things that they have to consider that I don't even think they've even thought that through yet. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
So that's another lab rat volunteering that might give us another chance to meet with our spouses.
Yeah, you want to take on my form?
Well, Grindal, as much as I love you, it's not that way.
Yeah, I know. You'd rather be a Chiliad or a Pleiadian or whatever. So
It's
yeah,
still green. It's still green. It's still green.
Yeah, green. Well, it's blue. It's whatever color. Yeah, it's green. The Chiliads are green.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left in the session. I don't think we have time to bring anybody else in. Does anybody have any non-government questions for Grindal?
I have a question that's, I know I talked about the protocols and how important it was to bring in other races into them.
Yes.
Did Ramsey show up, or did he have anything
Yes.
to say about anything?
He was there with you 3 times.
Did he speak about anything? Or
Yes, he did. He spoke about actually what he did was spoke about first contact, and he listened to you talk, and he just went from where you left off and continued talking. Every time you would talk, then he would talk, but he let you talk first.
Oh, that was very nice of him. Thank you, Grindal.
Yeah. You're welcome. But he didn't talk a lot. He's usually a long talker, and he didn't really do that this time.
Yeah.
I have a question. It's technically non-governmental. Let's talk about the ascension and moving forward. I know that our planet is really struggling right now, and so where are we in regards to like God's plan and moving it forward? I mean, I don't think I've ever asked that before, but
only God can tell you that. But I can tell you this. There's been a lot of struggle lately, but he knew that there was going to be struggles, of course. He knew there would be ups and downs. He knew there would be plateaus. So I don't think this was any surprise to him that this recent time was went up and down and all around and everything. So I don't think that was a surprise, but believe it or not, you are all still on a pretty good timeline.
Okay. Thank you.
Temple's question sort of inspired me. I'm just curious if you can tell me what did Alita talk about? What was my thought?
Alita talked about first contact also, but Alita is very interested in other things as well. She was interested in medical things, and she was interested in talking about how to get better medical information to the people of the planet and how to socially integrate once first contact came, she was very interested in being part of the social integration of the people of the planet, because she does not see that would be handled very well by your civilization.
Yeah, and she'd be right. Yeah.
Yes. So she was very concerned because she sees that the mental problem of the planet is that the planet is thinking in a sort of mentally unstable way, and so she was bringing that into light, that she could help them to actually move more in a better mentally stable projection.
Yeah, they'd be one of the. I don't know. Is it correct to assume that the more human looking the race, the less changes either the human or the spouse would have to go through, or is that not the case?
No, that is not the case.
All right.
There are some species, such as the Nords, that will surprise you. Although they do look very human in many ways, their actions are not.
I was talking more like the physical, like atmosphere, bacteria, radiation, that sort of thing.
Yes, that is helpful. But humanoid looking forms can be very hostile.
All right. Thank you. I think I get the trophy for most questions asked.
A quick one. She just wondered if you could tell us what Spirikos had to say.
Spirikos is saying that actually he talked several times, at least 3 times, but his conversations were very much based on first contact for one thing, but the very fact that the planet is not responding to the people out here, and they need to respond in a good period of time so that they understand what is happening, so that they can help guide and direct, if necessary, what's happening on the planet. I think that was his most important conversation, was that they're being totally shut out. Many of the species are being shut out, and so communication is an important factor for first contact, for what any kind of communication between the species, and it's just not happening the way it should.
Angie, you're next.
Well, I mean, seems that we're all asking. Tolska, I know that he had to have spoken. He is a one of the.
I know who he is.
Okay, what did he speak about? I'm very curious.
He spoke about conspiracy theories and how that the world is being destroyed by them, and how that he thinks that there is a lot of problems in many places because of misinformation, and that even the countries are misinformed about one another. And he wanted to try to let people know some of the truth about some of these things that are being spoken about that are not true, so that they could have an understanding of where the differences are coming from and what is the truth and what is not.
That's really very important at this time, because there is so much misinformation that's out there, and
Well, even between the countries, but he's seeing it a lot in this country.
yeah. Thank you, Grindal.
You're welcome.
Elga just wrote in the chat asking about Raguel, if he spoke.
Yes, Raguel spoke also, and he was talking about equality. He spoke about greater equality on the earth, because he sees so much inequality there, and that he wanted to bring about the thought process that equality was important for the mental health of the world, and that it is something that he wants to work with as many people as possible to bring equality, and women and men are equal, and that there is no inequality. You may think differently, you may have different sizes, you may have all these different things, but that doesn't make you less equal or more powerful than another. Because you're stronger muscle wise, your brains can be very even when it comes to thought processes and abilities to deal with things. So he was trying to bring equality into the thought process on the planet.
All right, well, we're running out of time, but I wanted to ask one broader question. Did any aliens come up with any innovative offers to support humanity that had not previously been discussed before this meeting?
No, there was many things in past meetings that were brought up. There was nothing really new. There were greater details discussed, but there was nothing really new, because the earth was not ready for anything new.
So does that imply that there are many benefits to first contact that have not been introduced to discuss
Correct.
at this point?
Yes. There are many benefits to Earth first contact, but first you must have it before they can even possibly begin to explain and let people understand what those benefits are. They can be very generic and they can be very broad, but there are many greater and specific benefits that you can receive, but it is not easy to tell you about those kinds of things at this point.
All right, does that sound like a good place to close? We're a little over time and Jim probably needs a drink of water.
Very well. Have a good day.
Much love and thank you so much. You've been very helpful.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
We love you, Grindal.
Love you too. Bye.